Hi, I am Christine Glein, and I am the Chief Energy Officer here at the Game Changing Impact Group. And today I wanted to talk to you about coaching. Yeah, put me in, coach. And what is coaching? And what's the difference between coaching and mentoring and training and therapy? Well, the biggest difference is coaching is about taking you where you are today to where you want to go. Whereas all of the psychotherapy and things like that is about how you got to this point. So I want to focus on taking you where you are to where you want to go. I mean, training is another form of imparting knowledge, as is mentoring, as is managing. But coaching is different because it allows you to ask the right questions so the person you're coaching tells themselves the right answer. How cool is that? Right? Because everybody loves hearing themselves talk. So they're the best person to convince themselves on what they need to do to move forward. Right. But it's your job as the coach to kind of guide them and get them there, not necessarily providing all of the answers like you might if you were, training or teaching or serving as a mentor. It's for them to discover it themselves. So how do you do that? Well, one of the biggest things is active listening. And I promise you, one of the greatest gifts you can give anyone today is holding space. What does that mean? It means being a really good listener. It means listening to what they're saying, what they're not saying, listening for emotion, looking at the nonverbal communication, even if it is over Zoom, whether someone's hesitating, whether they're engaged, whether they're distracted. People really don't feel heard today. And if you think about it, it's one of the craziest things, right? We see people sitting at dinner on their phones. So clear the deck, get rid of all distractions, no multitasking, no email, no Slack, no phone, no social media, no inputting data in a spreadsheet. Give that person your undivided attention. I promise you, it's one of the biggest gifts you can give them. So after you listen, that's the first part of a coaching model, listen. The second thing is question. You have to ask them the right questions and powerful questions, open-ended questions, not yes or no answers. And then you acknowledge what you heard by recapping or paraphrasing for clarity, and ideally take good notes so you can use their exact words, because it's easier then for them to convince themselves. So you say, so what I heard you say was, or if I heard you correctly, let me see if I understand what you just shared, right? Those are all great recaps or paraphrasing way to go about it. And there are lots of different ways to coach people, and there's lots of different amazing questions. And depending what's going on, you might need to use a reframing question. And a reframing question is how you turn a negative situation into a positive one and help the person you're coaching get that aha moment. Maybe it's something like, well, how does that perspective work for you? Or if they're being difficult about doing something you've encouraged them to do, how could this be fun? Where could we find the golden nugget in this situation? Or if you were up for a breakthrough in your productivity, what would you do? Or what's missing here? If once we include it, what will make the situation flow? Right? Those are all really good questions to help shift someone from being in a negative spot to being in a positive spot. Or, if they're being difficult and things aren't running well, even maybe it's, how do you think this will affect your personal brand in the company? How do you think this affects our team's brand? So there's a lot of different cool questions you can ask. Right? Other powerful questions could be, how is that serving you? What might you be doing to contribute to this problem? Could even be, tell me more if you want to go deeper. What would you like to see happen? All of those things are really great. Or you might need alignment questions, right? Where you get people to tap into their overall values, vision, and purpose and see how aligned they are with yours for your team or your company. Even something like, what is holding you back? Or what would your work life be like if it were exactly the way you wanted it to be? Who's in control of the situation? Here's a great one. For anybody that constantly gets the I don't knows, and this can also work with a teenager, okay, just saying. If you did know, what would it look like? Or how would it feel? And that one of my favorites is, if I had a magic wand and could grant you any wish, what would it be? Or if I had a magic wand and could grant you a wish, how do you think things should run? Right? So it gets them aligned with where you want them to be, or it at least gives you a moment, right, to check in with them and see how aligned they actually are. So all of those things, again, elicit response, right? So you have to have really powerful questions. Another great model of mine is called DISCO. I know, a little old school, but most people, when they come to you and they've got this, pressing issue, they're all stuck in D, the drama, right? And typically what we do as coaches or managers is we try and solve the problem. We get right to the situation right away. And we don't really go deeper. Asking them, well, who do we choose to be in this situation? How do I choose to show up? Am I going to be this confident, together, collected supervisor? Or am I going to be this crazy person that gets stuck in the drama? So it's drama, situation, choice. And the last one is opportunity. That's where you take that 30,000-foot view and you're able to go, you know what? I know life is supporting me and it's not happening to me. So there's always a learning in everything. So if you can get to that opportunity phase, that's when it comes together. And more importantly, if you can shift your teams to that opportunity phase, that's when you really see things change. So I'm a big fan of using coaching models in business situations, especially. It can even actually help you, in parenting, believe it or not. The other thing I would encourage you to do is to also do a little self-coaching. And if you don't know what self-coaching is all about, that's something else that I can share with you, where you really focus on every day, whether it's meditation, prayer, journaling, but focusing on the best version of you. How are you going to show up today? And how are you planning to move your teams forward today? And you actually focus on envisioning you as your best version of you and a future self. Like, what are you moving towards? That's how you start reprogramming that subconscious mind of ours that's always churning and burning with negative thoughts, emotions, energies, and limiting self-beliefs. But that is a topic for another day. So today, I encourage you to use one of the coaching models I talked about, LQAF or DISCO, and let me know how it goes. I would love to hear about any fun coaching, teaching moments. I hope I've shared a few good nuggets with you today. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday and keep moving on.